Alright, so welcome back. Hopefully you guys are having a fabulous day here today, and we got some fun stuff that I wanted to jump into. I need to know your takes on this one because guess what? They've officially updated the JP site for the entire tier list and everything. If you don't know what JP means, people ask that. It means Japan. There was a big, very, very big, Japan presence on this game, and they have been cooking really hard lately, making up some tier lists, and there's been some tournaments that have been going on in Japan here, and they've actually shown some insane results. A lot of drops in meta decks that you thought were like popping off. They've been not doing too hot in these tournaments and such because new decks were kind of created and older decks are coming back to the top here. So I wanted to show you the update because, again, they just published it and they put out like 7 news notices telling everyone, hey, we fully updated the site here because big changes. We've learned a lot of new things. And I wanted to share with you. This is why it's kind of fun to see in the first 2 weeks of the kind of release. Things are going to change. Today we're going to hop into it. If you are new to the channel, like up, subscribe up. If you want to enter the giveaway, just be subscribed and comment down below Giratina. We'll be wrapping up this giveaway soon and starting a new one for a new word because we're getting old with this one. Let's hop into it. First up, again, we are on Game with JP. That's the site named over here. If you want to look for it, it's Game with JP. You can just search up Pokemon TCG Pocket afterwards, and you should be able to find the site here. Again, linking some JP sites is a little bit problematic, but I'm still working on my Discord. I'll be launching that soon, so I can just put all the links in there if you want to join in and get all the kind of things that I use in my videos and such in a very easy manner. So it's a little bit easier for me to post and safer for me to post. But they fully put out like a notice, if you don't already know, on their like Twitter account saying, "Hey guys, listen, bro, things have changed. We've been working out like the entire site and everything, and since they last published, a lot of people were learning new things because that's what's going to happen with the new set and such. And as tournaments go through and people test and have fun with it, things change. So what changed was this. If you see the arrows, that means like what they've upped, downed, whatever. They dropped Gyarados' deck by a bit here. They put Celebi and Executor on top here. This deck is cooking, okay? A lot of people are testing this one, and they're able to like really, really do good with it. So just so you know, if you want to have fun with this deck, it definitely is making a kind of hard comeback. Pretty much it looks like this over here. Similar deck that you've kind of seen or run before. You have Celebi, you have Mew, obviously the main attraction. You have all the trainer cards over here. Mainly it's a trainer heavy deck, but yeah. If you want to know the acquisition methods for each of the cards here, they actually provide that, which is super cool. Again, one activation and fast, one energy activation and fast tempo. HP recovery in Erica is powerful. Lowest maximum damage is compensated by or with Celebi, right? That's exactly what they say here. And on the stable thing, they're saying it's pretty stable. Endurance is up there, firepower is there, speed is up there, and they are giving this deck a pretty solid rating. They're giving it officially now SS tier, marking it up there with originally Darkrai and originally Palkia, but Gyarados was there. It took the spot for Gyarados, dropping Gyarados, and if anything, actually, they shifted everything down by one and dropped Gyarados down here to second, saying Charizard is still better, which if you're looking for the Charizard deck, they also provided that too. They didn't update the ranking here, but technically it did like move left, right? They also then put up the other things over here. Pachirisu, right? A lot of hate for Pachirisu, but Pachirisu made it. I don't know if you know this, but Pachirisu did pop off in an English tournament, and they kind of won out of a bunch of matches. They did a lot of testing. The top 5 players to the decks for Pachirisu, which is insane to think about. Pachirisu originally, you know, no one was saying, hey, yo, Pachirisu's good. No one was saying that, right? But yeah, Pachirisu with the Voltorb up until the evolution line, and then obviously over here, Mew was what they were running, and this was the deck that did wonders for them. Translation will say this, if you're wondering what their exact thing is. Acquisition cards over here. They say Pachirisu's EX is 2 energy, 80 damage, continuously hit is powerful. There is a movement to respond to whether it is a first attack or a back attack. Effective energy management is difficult. So they're saying it's freaking stable, kind of, right? And then the speed is up there, but everything else is kind of low. So if you're wondering, again, what they're saying here, what the ratings are, that's what they're putting in for Pachirisu. But those are the decks there that rose up. Sadly, Gyarados did not maintain. If you're wondering about the Gyarados deck here, it did drop a little bit, but Gyarados was up there. We were saying originally Gyarados was like maintained a lot here, but no, it looks like from their rankings, and I'll show you the next ranking and such too, they put that down. But they also dropped Mewtwo's deck, by the way, which is a big change as well. A lot of people were saying Mewtwo still outlasted the meta, but it does not look like that is the case anymore. Dialga also dropped a bit here, for those wondering. And the other Celebi Superior deck did drop as well. But the two that popped into the A category is Galade EX. So you want to take a look into this deck over here. If you're looking to build it, try it out. Galade over here. And then if you're looking at what the translation says for JP, what they're translating it to is a fast move centered on the fighting type is powerful, abundant candidates for sub-attackers. It is important to move to push into the scoring zone of Galade. And then over here you have, again, this. Some of the translations come out a little bit weird here, so trying to read that might be a little painful, but this is the deck that they're saying rose up here to 8 tier. So for you Galade lovers out there, great, you made it up there. Sadly, for those that like really like Giratina, doesn't look like Giratina's been popping lately. Sadly, right? But we're gonna cope. The next mini set has what we're looking forward to with Giratina and such. But we're gonna hope. But Electivire also made a debut over here in 8 tier. And if you're looking for the deck, that's what it looks like over here. Give you a second to like take a look into it. And now if you're looking at what the translation is saying over here, we'll translate it real quick. They're saying this tier 3 Electivires, 4 energy, 120 damage, powerful. You can benefit from that and Denji, which I'm guessing is Magnezone and probably one of the trainer cards, right? And it is easy to develop a little lack of firepower. So there you go. And pretty much that moved up there. So not bad. B tier now. Let's get into this. But yes, for B tier over here, they lowered Infernape. I cried for many hours seeing that. They lowered Luxray, but they raised Licky. So Licky made a little bit of a comeback here, putting him now in A tier. The translation will say what for this, but I'm sorry to those Licky enjoyers out there. Me, you know, literally we all got shafted here. Right? Infernape lovers, we all died. Torterra lovers, what's the other one? Empoleon lovers, we all died here. Now Licky, Giratina and such. It hurts, man. It hurts. But for this one, there are pros and cons. You can see it's a bit, you know, a bit low over here. But they say this over here. Where's the rating? Here we go. You can aim for big damage with, I'm guessing, Dialga? Velobort EX? There are a few Pokemon and high, reproducibility of movement. Large swing width of damage with of Velobort EX. Maybe that's Licky that's not bad. I'm guessing it can't be Dialga, right? Yeah, it's I think it's Licky. Bellobolt built. Yeah, we'll go with that. Then if you were looking what other decks dropped here, Pidgeon dropped. Yeah, this keeps dropping too. Venusaur dropped as well. Blastoise dropped as well. So those are the decks that are dropping hardcore here. Depressing that Infernape did that, but if you're wondering, the four ones that moved up here are five. Five moved up. They moved up Licky, Galade, Electivire, Pachirisu, and the biggest jump of all is this one. They moved this up so much. If you want to take another look into another thing here, this is a JP kind of tester and such who like conglomerates a lot of the information and kind of puts everything together here. And they kind of cooked up with this. So environment, deck, tier chat. This is again during this time frame here, 2.4 to 2.10. These are again 34. They took this information with 34 overseas tournaments. And the second week of time-space battle environment has changed. Basically, or ended, sorry. Although Darkrai EX has declined slightly, it is still at the center of the environment. On the other hand, Executor and I'm pretty sure Magnezone are the ones that are rising very heavily. And Mewtwo is sadly dropping. But with all this information, again, shout out to this person over here for this info. This is what it looks like. So a big drop in kind of win rate and such with when it comes to Darkrai, but look who's popping. Executor's popping, man. And then Magnezone and such, like they're putting it like the medium area, a bit of a drop with Charizard, you know, drop with Palkia and such. You have some drops over here. You got some pickups though. Pachirisu, you saw the same way that deck's singing over there. Pachirisu's been picking up a lot of heat over here, kind of doing better. Galade picking up a lot of heat over here as well, doing better. Licky made it. That's why it says new over here. He made it. He is doing something. And then again, it's a very similar thing. That's why I'm trying to show it to you. Very similar to what they were saying over there. You see which cards are popping and which cards are finally picking up a higher win rate and slowly moving up. And remember, this Game with JP site has updated just now. Imagine what happened between 210 and now. So they haven't updated this yet, but again, this is a pretty good idea to take a look into like the stats and such. If you're wondering about like all the maybe JP global like tournaments and comps and such, combine the information, this is what you're getting as win rate and such, which is nice. Very, very cool to look into. So beyond that though, they also published this one too. Again, started the same person here. Overseas competition results. The winner, by the way, was what? It was this. Like what? They're cooking. Executive making the cock of the century. Over here we have this one. Seemingly this was this two as well? So this was one. This is this a different formation of the deck? Let me translate this real quick. But this was there as well, right? In one of the positions and such. And then we have the other two being, I think, Darkrai and that. So let me just translate this just to verify so I can make sure this is good for you. But you take a look. It's a bit of a different, I think, formation. These are what they're going for. So this is, runner-up. So this isn't there. This is runner-up. So the other one is winner. Correct? This is winner. The other one's runner-up. So those are the two formations of the deck that actually got to winning. Now this over here is top 4. So basically, yeah, if that makes any sense to you. Greninja and Darkrai, this was one of the decks with Druddigan. And the other deck over here was Galade that actually ended up doing pretty well in the tournament they tested it in. And they pretty much say this over here just to show it to you. The Dark League, Wednesday, number 6, 600 people. The winning deck is Executor. The second place deck is Executor. And then the third place deck is Darkrai. Fourth place is Lucario and Galade. That was what they got over here for 600 people entering in. And the top 4 placements were, as you can see, top 3 are the ones I've been talking about. I don't know how Galade made it, bro. Galade cooking out here, okay? I'll take that, but pretty much just want to share this with you if you're looking for like maybe what's kind of going on with meta and such and how things are changing. Again, you can get a nice little look here and a real good deep dive into this again for this information and such. So W all around. Let me know what you think. Is these decks that I showed you as popular as they're making it out to be? Are they not doing as good? Do you think the Gyarados did not deserve the drop off? What do you think over here, bud? A lot of my comments enjoyed the original videos that I made on this from the strongest card tier list and the strongest deck tier list. So I thought that I'd update it now, showing you what's changed, because a lot has changed in the last few days, which is crazy. I uploaded the video, I think, 9 days ago, right? And in 1 week, how much has changed after more testing and more, comps created. So yeah, take care, have fun. It's been it for me.